Alright, welcome back to another Nature's Glory Cabin. Today we're doing part 2 of the recorded from February 24, 2024. We just came off of Sinking Creek and now we're heading toward Old Fincastle. So we're going to go down, to start with, we're going to go down New Virginia Ridge Road toward Hidden Lake. We're going to hang out at Hidden Lake a few minutes. You can see where we went that way. And then we're going to go right back out, get back on Highway 52, 498 to Bald Rock. And then we're going to go up that to Cave Fork and out to Highway 11 and all the way back around. This here is a little more detail of the Old Fincastle end of it. Here we go, we're going to get on to New Virginia toward Hidden Lake. We're going to cut a lot of this out. I've got a lot of videos out there with New Virginia in those. We're going the opposite direction here. Now on the left right there is the wooden bridge. We're not going to go across it, obviously. Now we're just going to go straight and go back to Hidden Lake. And we'll go past this building here, I believe was a pump house to pump water underground to raise the oil level so they would pump out with the pumps. And we'll show that from behind. And that water is probably 16, 18 inches deep. I've not seen it over that. I guess it could get that way. There's a washout you need to watch for going back here. A couple of spots. I cut out some of this. On the right there, coming down the hill, is the hard way. At the very top of New Virginia Ridge Road, there's what looks like a smooth trail. Well, that's where it comes out. And we're going to make this left here. There's a steeper one and an easier one. The one on the right is more of a sweeping off camber a little bit. Neither are very hard. You can pick whichever way you think is the easiest for you. And all of a sudden, here we are. We're back at Hidden Lake. Again, there are pictures on the Facebook page in albums if you want to see more pictures of the scenery. Nature's Glory Cabin Facebook page, same name as the YouTube channel. Going across the dam here, it's a little deep right there. And there's not much room to turn around. I wouldn't take more than 2 or 3 rigs back here because if you see where we turn around here in the spillway, it's kind of tight. I've done it with a total of 3 before and we get around here pretty good. You might be able to do it with 4, but it starts to get pretty tight. So we had a big day. We hit several trails, and today we're doing a few of the easier ones at the beginning, and we're going to end up at Old Fincastle at the very end. And we'll just head on back out. That'd be a nice little picnic spot, I guess, in the summer and hang out there, and it'd be pretty decent. Nice place, nice view. Heading right back out the way we came. Now we're back at the bottom of the hill where those 2 little ways you could come. I'm going to go up the hill again. You could go around this to the left if you wanted to. You see it's a little smoother on the left. There's a tree right here you might want to watch out for as you come up. You get kind of close to it. And we're going to climb right on out. It's not a bad climb. It's a little rocky right there. And right on back out the way we came. And we're back to the pump house already. It's probably no more than a 1/4 mile or so back in there. And easily doable. A 2, maybe a 3, depending on your equipment. Most stock 4-wheel drives could get back there without much trouble. I mean real 4-wheel drive vehicles. Now we're going right back out. Notice we passed the bridge again. That time was on our right. And we're going all the way out New Virginia Ridge Road, and we're going to go to, there's a few ruts here that we didn't pay attention to coming up that are getting worse over time. They had bulldozed this at one time, they were nice and smooth. Now we're on the way up to the top here. We're going to turn left. That's where we turned right when we came out of Sinking Creek to go down in there. Now we're going to go up and out to Highway 52. Got a little blacktop for where we're going. Not a whole lot. We're going to go Highway 52, then we're going to go 498, and we're going to shoot off into Bald Rock. We'll we'll show a little bit of that so you can see how to get there. 52 here as you come off, make a left. Go around a couple of miles, and it's 498, might be more than a couple. We're going to go left on 498. And it also says Highway 11. If you wanted to, you could continue on 498 all the way out to 11. But we're going to do a couple of trails instead, so we're going to go the other way. Now here's the only way you'll know this is Bald Rock. There's a church sign there, a blue one. Hope they don't move it. This gravel road is kind of rough. There's nothing else that marks it. So this is where we shift into low range going down this hill. It's fairly steep. I use low range a lot. It does a good job of controlling your speed. Not having to burn the brakes up. You start holding your brakes a lot, brakes fade, and braking problems. Use the engine, use low range, that's what it's for. Got a nice little rock face here I was going to show you. That's why I switched away from the split picture going down this hill. That's a nice rock face. It's a world-class climbing area down here, the Pendergrass Murray Recreational Preserve. Now once we passed all of that, this is where we get into the water crossings. That's a mile or so, and then we get to the water crossings, get past the rock climbing area. We're going to show a few of those. There are several. The water's not very deep on this day. It's a lot deeper back on Sinking Creek than it is here. If you missed that video, go back and watch it. It's part 1. Nice scenery down through here as we look as we go, crossing the water crossings. We should have a rear camera view here in a minute. It's more scenery when you get to drive it slow. In these videos, try not to be too boring, so I do speed them up. And here we're going to have a little rear camera action of those same water crossings. So we're on Bald Rock here. If you recall from part 1, we started out on a little piece of Bald Rock and then we turned onto New Virginia. So now we're coming in from the other direction and it's mostly Bald Rock all the way. Actually it will be. We'll show you the other map when we get to it here of where we're going to come into it. Where we turned before. Hopefully y'all are watching this on bigger screens. It shows up a lot better on a big screen. Okay, this is the final water crossing before we get to the split where we turn right on New Virginia Ridge Road. That'll be on the left right there. Here's the map. You see the top left, Bald Rock, that's where we're at right now. We're going to go on right onto Cave Fork, go all the way out to Ashland Camp Loop and Highway 11 South, down to 3 Mile Branch Road where we head toward Hell Creek and Old Fincastle. This is the water crossing at Cave Fork. We passed this. This was on our left when we came down the hill off Fixer-Lico. Didn't show up in the camera because of the forward facing, but that's where we came down the hill there behind there. And there's a couple of water crossings here on Cave Fork. This is very smooth, smoother than what we've even done up to this point. Makes a nice loop. We can make a real nice easy ride loop on several of these. And we do it on a regular basis. Anybody wants to come down for a real easy loop, we can get 3 or 4 hours out of just this loop. An easy ride, that is. A little water crossing here. And when we get to this end down here, those two big rocks, that's pretty much you're out of here. You're out of Cave Fork at this point, pretty much. You climb onto the top of the hill on the gravel road, and then we're going to make a right onto Ashland Camp Loop. We go to Ashland Camp Loop. Like I said a minute ago, we're going to go down here to Highway 11 and make a right, and we're going to head toward 3 Mile Branch Road, which is where we're going to turn and go back to Hill Creek and then on to Old Fincastle. There'll be a map popping up here in just a second about the time we get there. It's a few miles down the road, maybe 5. It's not really marked very well, so you'll need to pay attention. And here we are coming at the bottom there, 3 Mile Branch Road. And there's a few other little turns we got to make. We'll talk about those because they don't show up very well on the map. And then we're going to go all the way through to Old Fincastle and out the other end. So here's where we're going to make a left. You see the sign there. This is left on the 3 Mile Branch Road. This up here is Old Highway 11. We're going to bear left on Old Highway 11 at the top up here. Really not a sign. And then pretty much immediately we're going to make a right onto Tip Top Road, and you'll see the dbbb sign off on the right. I don't think we got much of it in that picture. And we just follow this on back until we get to the beginning of Hill Creek. We got a little turn here onto Holly Road. If you go straight, that's a dead end, so you'd have to turn around anyway. And we just stay on Holly Road for a while, and we find the entrance to Hill Creek. I cut a lot of this out because it's, quite frankly, it's a very easy ride, and I've done several of them. And here we are coming out the other side on Shoemaker Ridge Road. We're going to make a left here on Shoemaker Ridge Road. A little bit of blacktop here for not very far, maybe a mile. And then we're going to make a right onto Old Fincastle. And of course it's paved out at the highway. And you go back in here a ways and there's the dbbb sign. And we're going to start going downhill. Again, we've already shifted into low range. There are several obstacles on Old Fincastle. You've probably heard of the Deepwater Crossing and the Rock Garden, but there are several other things that go along with it. First, we have to go down a pretty rocky hill, and the rocky hill video just doesn't do it justice. Several drop-offs and places that you could bang a differential, especially if you have smaller tires. Tire placement can be important on smaller tires. Just try to get a tire on the biggest rock safely and get over it. There'll be some ruts and there's a mud hole or two. And going down this hill here, I think we'll show some rear camera action too. That this front camera and the side camera just doesn't do this justice. And we're meeting a few people. We'll cut those out. You won't see those in this video, but every now and then you'll meet people. It's a nice wide spot right here, so everybody can get through. Get down to this curve, there's a few more rocks and a few places you need to pick through a little better, especially if you're on smaller tires. And smaller tires, I mean 33s for sure. I've seen people do it on 32s and 31s. It's a little more work. You gotta have confidence in your equipment and your people leading you. I don't really want to lead anybody back here on less than 33s. And once we get through this spot, there's also a rut or two. There's a rut off to the right, you want to go around that. And here's some rear camera coming down that hill. You get a little better look at those rocks, I believe, off this rear camera. Banging our way down through there. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of perspective. You can kind of see them a little bit. And there's that rut. You want to definitely get around that. And we continue on down the hill. Notice there's a little washout spot on the right here, up ahead. Those things can pop up out of nowhere. Just because they weren't there the last time you were here doesn't mean they won't be bad or worse or a new one. Then this mud hole right here, I believe, has a drop off in it, so you're going to go down a little quick and come back up out of it. You might get a little mud on your hitch there. And here we are at the high water crossing. This is about average that I've seen. I've seen it a little lower than this. I've heard of it being higher. I haven't personally seen it higher, but I've heard of it being over a 35-inch tire. Looks like a boat from behind. And I threw a picture sequence in here since I didn't get video of myself. My wife takes these servo pictures with her camera and I stitch them together, and it makes a decent little video. And we'll get Sam here with the video camera because I was over there and was able to do it. Once we get through this, there's a little flexi spot right here as you come out of it. And then we're going to climb this hill. This hill has its own obstacles in it. It itself is an obstacle. There's rocks in it, and there's also a rut. And generally speaking, on 33s, I drag my rear differential. I have a rear skid plate that helps me get over it. Every now and then it hangs me up for a second, and I have to back up and hit it again. We'll see if you can see the telltale marks of the skid plate on the mud. You usually can. Get up through here. Yeah, again, the video does not do this hill justice, so we're going to go, it's kind of off camber to the right. You can try to ride it a little bit to the center, but it'll pull you right back down most of the time. And I have to take another bite at it. I'm sure I drug my differential, my skid plate. Yep, and there we get on through it. Now we'll probably see it here. Yep, there it is. You see where I drug it. It's not real bad, but it's enough to slow me down. I have to get a little momentum to push on through it. Before I had the skid plate, it didn't slide over near as good, easily. Now we're going to climb up this hill. There's still some rocks and some off-camber things to deal with. Just pick your way through them and try to stay, generally speaking, I stay left driver and get the right tires up on the rocks. These rocks are bigger than they look in this video. And we get up here to the top is the rock garden. We always stop and hang out and walk and look at it, especially if somebody hasn't been over it yet. We'll get out and kind of get ready, get set up for video and pictures and stuff. And again, I'm going to go over the rock. You don't have to, depending on how you're equipped. You may not be able to go over it. We'll show some picture sequences and some video. You may go off camber and just put your two right side tires, your passenger side tires, on the rock. And I've seen a lot of long vehicles go over it that way without any trouble. And once you get across, there's still quite a few rocks here to negotiate. It's hard to tell from this angle, but they're pretty rough. Get past the first few, then you just get centered up on the rest of it and go right on out. Nice rock face off to the left, you can't really see in the cameras. Now here's me going over this from the rear. I'm sure every time I've done old Fincastle this shows up. Up and over. Yes, I need to use a locker. You get on top, it starts to want to spin, so I turn the locker on. And now you can see the rocks behind me going over them. And there's another picture sequence. You can see the tires spinning even in the picture sequence, going up and over it. And now we have Sam coming up. He's going to take the route the 2 tires on the rock, which he's so long he probably would bottom out. So he got right over it, no problem. Made it look easy. And then you just climb out the rocks on the other side. And once you get past that point, I wouldn't say smooth sailing, but it's kind of rough going up the hill, but not bad. We get on up here, and once we get out to the top, I guess it didn't like me there for a second. I saw a tire spin. And once we get on out to the top up here, that's pretty much it. You continue on out, it turns into 2016, and then 2016 runs into 715, and you can use your GPS in there to get wherever you need to go. You can go back to Slade or wherever you need to go. Your GPS will work once you get on top of the hill. Alright, that's the end of part 2. Hope everybody's enjoyed this. Be sure to go back and watch part 1 if you haven't watched it. I'd appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe, and hey, take a look at the Facebook page. There's lots of pictures over there as well. Look for you on the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody.